Okay, Kathleen, welcome back. All right, so this is sort of like a review assignment, okay? I want to see if you can still understand the 3 stages. These 3 stages are going to become very important when you start to work with a witness, okay? Which we're going to do for 3 of the assignments coming up, all right? So, it's just a matter of knowing what information you need, when you need it, how to start your strategy in terms of the proportions of the face, and from what the witness has picked out and what they're saying. And that's your starting strategy. You need not quite this much because you know where you're going again, so you have to get pretty detailed in this proportional sketch. But generally, it will be simpler than this. Just block shapes to some extent, but all these elements will be spelled out just like they are now. Not so much a peach fuzz mustache. That would be something I would put on later. I put a mustache on in the proportional stage when it's a very big, thick one, or a beard or something. But this you could have left out. And you could simplify it a little bit. But still, if you can get to this pretty quickly and you're ready to change and move things around in terms of the location of the eyes. Of course, the eyes never leave the horizontal guideline. But you in and out, the length of the nose, up and down, everything moves proportionally from the center point in and out, according to what the witness says. You need about this much before you could show it to the witness for the first time to get input. So, you're doing this composite session, you're doing your initial interview, you're viewing references, you're going through all this with the witness, and then when you start to draw, you lay out the proportional drawing first before you can turn around to the witness and start asking questions related to the proportionality of the face. And to get the best answers you can. You can't get answers to everything. As you get into the characteristic stage, you start developing this sketch further, and you start adding more detail. Here you have plenty of detail already, but you start to add more detail in the shapes of the nose, mouth, things like that, according to what the witness is saying and according to the references they picked out, okay? Again, this all looks pretty good to me in terms of proportions that I kind of was going for. And, again, this also looks pretty good for me in terms of how it's developing the characteristic stage. A lot of working with the witness in this stage, okay? And as you feel comfortable, then you start adding overall tone to shapes, okay? Because you want to start to reflect the final render, what the feature value distinction of the final render is going to be. Okay, and you might put a little more tone on this to get a little bit further along in the characteristic stage. So you can start asking the big questions. Hey, does this look something like the guy? You really don't ask those questions in this stage. Usually it's a lot more abstract than what you have here. And as you're working in the characteristic stage, in the beginning you're being a little more specific, a little more working on the shapes of the characteristics and the kinds of features. And then, from what they've said, looking at here and getting it to play out here, and from what they're saying. But as you get to the end of the characteristic stage, when you get to the end of the characteristic stage, that's when you're asking, hey, does this look something like that? Because this should reflect what the final outcome is going to be. And in a lot of ways it does, okay? I probably would have gone just a little more tone on here before I asked those questions, so I wanted to really reflect this. But it looks good, and if you're always a witness, I'd be telling you it looks good. And then, of course, in the final render, you're dealing with the form elements, with the lighting. You help defining the shape. You want the render to enhance the drawing, enhance the information that's being given to you, and make sure it reflects the feature value distinction that the witness seems to be angling towards, okay? And you can get that from, some input from the witness. Of course, there's always input from the witness in this stage, too, because you got to say, is the hair light enough, dark enough, is that the right texture, things like that. And then you go out and you render it out and you finish it up and hopefully you got a good likeness, okay? This is the guy, okay? And look how well you did. You kind of nailed him. Probably a little more Asian on those eyes, but that's still pretty good. Your drawing ability is wonderful, and I told you that in the first class. So you're just at a good spot right now. And this is the guy. I don't know if you can see too well on the camera, but on the web page you'll see there's a link where you can see a picture of the guy. Okay. I think I put a picture on the website when I posted. All right. Otherwise, good job, well done, good start, and I'll be sending you the next set the next assignment sharp. Okay?